Eye of the Hurricane. Embarking on an unreal dream. Stockholm, April 1979. The Mainz, Germany office called to confirm Bábá's trip. He would be coming together with an entourage of 10 or so Dadas, Didis, and Margis. They said that he would stay for a month, touring Switzerland, Germany, Sweden, Holland, Spain, France, and Italy. As Chief Secretary of the Volunteer Service Department, I would be in charge of Bábá's security and many other aspects of the program. Dada Dharmavedananda and I would be the main organizers. My principal duty was to get ready for the tour. Somehow the whole thing still felt unreal to me, like a dream. Lyon, France. It was 1 month later and Bábá was scheduled to arrive in a week. But so far, he and 2 other Dadas still did not have their passports. After all our planning, we were still not sure if they would come or not. This was typical, of course. 11th hour dramas were his invariable style. Though my mind left everything up to him, my stomach sang a different tune. It often heaved like a volcano about to erupt, but no drop of lava emerged. Frankfurt, Germany. Finally, Dada Dharmavedananda phoned with news that Bábá's party had left Calcutta for Bombay and was out of touch. There was still no official word about their program. So, are they coming to Switzerland or not? I asked. I guess so, but there's nothing sure, right? What about the central office? They also don't know what's going on, but dare we tell that to the Margis? If Maximum Margis are to meet Bábá in Geneva, they need to start traveling now. Yet another cosmic clash. Thanks, Bábá. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke as we weighed the alternatives. We've got to announce that Bábá's definitely coming, I said. Right. It's the only practical thing to do. If we're wrong, that's his problem. Yeah, said Karunanandaji. And maybe about 1,000 Margis' problem too. Anyway, if we guessed right, nobody will ever know. And if we guessed wrong, I'll say it was your fault, he said, laughing. Thanks. Though I didn't know whether or not he was really joking, I also laughed. Why not? I always keep my word. Geneva, Switzerland, 6 May. Hundreds of Margi brothers and sisters swarmed throughout the Geneva airport today, seething with anticipation, their paper-thin patience stretched taut, waiting for a man who was not only the center of their lives, but who most had never yet even seen. Some sang devotional songs, some danced, while others gossiped, but there was no way to disguise the tension. 3 brothers scaled the wall up to a large windowsill and stared through the window, looking onto the runway. Even those sitting in meditation contributed to the electrifying anxiety. For the umpteenth time, I rehearsed the security. Volunteers, attention, I yelled. 16 uniformed cadets, 8 brothers and 8 sisters in 2 perfect lines, snapped their backbones straight and thumped their staffs on the floor. Though some could barely speak English, all clearly understood the martial commands. None of them, however, understood one thing. Perhaps Bábá was not coming. I caught Karunanandaji's eye, which flickered as he cast a thin grin in my direction. He could still afford to smile. If Bábá was coming today, the plane now arriving was the only possible flight. I stood toward the back of my volunteers, confident that at least these 16 would play their role properly if he came. But would he? Bábá nam kevalam, screamed one of the Margis, hanging on the window, viewing the runway. He's here! Those sitting in meditation jumped up as everyone, including the general public, pushed toward the door of the customs and immigration area. You fool, yelled another Margi on the window. That isn't Bábá. A painful groan issued from scores of lips. Waiting. Now only silence from those up on the window. The door from the customs area opened, and 2 passengers came out, then a few more, still no Bábá. An Indian dressed in white and wearing glasses came out. A brief hesitation as many thought, is that him? And then, Bábá, Bábá, Bábá! All were yelling, all were running, all were excited to breaking point. It was him. At the top of my voice, I shouted, volunteers, attention! But it was no use, I was wrong. The cadres did not obey, and instead added to the melee, wildly rushing toward their guru. And there I was, standing near the back of the hall, while the hundreds of Margis zeroed in on the man I was supposed to protect. What an idiot I was! I tried to push my way forward, but others were equally desperate. Madness, pure madness. For a split second, I could see Bábá smiling through the crowd, standing next to several Dadas and Margis who had come with him from India. Then the stampede hit. Oh God, what were they doing to him? Adrenaline pumped through my veins. I elbowed my way between 2 Margis, then more, pushing myself forward. In the front near Bábá, I saw a strange windmill of hands and feet rapidly breaking the air, deterring the Margis. Bábá Nam. He was Dada Dharmavedananda, Bábá's personal assistant, jumping left and right, forcefully rebuffing the Margis, thrusting them away from Bábá. Then, somehow, I was there next to him. I could not believe that he was still smiling, as calm as the eye of a hurricane. I joined Ramananda Ji, driving the Margis away, clearing a path for Bábá to walk to a chair next to Karunananda Ji. He walked slowly, majestically. In any case, he could not have walked rapidly because his legs were still not fully recovered from the long years of suffering in the prison. Karunananda Ji had a smile like a cherub. Bábá said, at last, the 16 volunteers recovered their senses and took their pre-planned places. Bábá then spoke his first words. You see, I have kept my word. 2 years ago, I promised to visit Switzerland at the first opportunity I would get. Now I have come. I always keep my word. Several brothers and sisters came forward, wearing colorful uniforms, specifically for performing yogic dances. Bábá leaned towards Karunanandaji and said, the color of the uniforms is not proper. You must take care. Even if an ant dies a premature death, the entire balance of the cosmos is affected. Next time it will be perfect, Bábá, Karunanandaji said. I smiled. It was Bábá in true form. Paradise and the Invisible Wall. Fiesch, Switzerland. About 700 Margis were present in this scenic mini-village of chateaux and meeting halls, surrounded by mountains, pine trees and green grass, raised by a shining sun and bathed in pure air. It seemed idyllic, especially when Bábá was also present in person. The program would last 1 week, and then we would travel to other cities. In the light of this paradisiacal atmosphere, one aspect of the Margis' behavior certainly appeared odd, at least by normal social standards. Their mad desire to touch him had continued unabated since the time he arrived in the airport. This tense situation had at least one good result. It compelled the security team to be on their toes. While accompanying Bábá in and out of the hall, the volunteers, both brothers and sisters, held their sticks horizontally, creating a sort of mobile protective fence around him. Bábá himself seemed to enjoy this frantic game. He sometimes paused in his walk to smile at certain Margis or offer a few encouraging words. At those times, the enthusiasm of the Margis grew higher, and the volunteers held onto each other's sticks, further reinforcing the fence. In some cases, the onslaught was so severe that I also had to join in the fence squad, straining against the shoving and pulling. Though I was particularly vigilant to see Baba's movement was undisturbed, I wondered whether our efforts at security were really necessary. I observed repeatedly that whenever we were not swift enough to stop some movement of hands or feet or a rebounding stick in Baba's direction, there was an invisible wall that protected him, allowing him to be totally unconcerned with the chaos only inches away from him. Daily dramas. By now, I had settled into a regular daily schedule: an early morning meeting with the security volunteers, checking meal arrangements for Baba and the Margis, organizing the personal contacts of different Margis with Baba, checking the program in the main hall, seeing to the security at the houses of Margis, workers, Baba, etc. The greatest meticulousness was demanded in the security for Baba's twice daily field walks and darshans. My own meditation time was abnormally short, but I did not care, because I could see Guru directly, many hours a day. As for eating, there was even less time, but the Didis in Baba's kitchen usually saved 2 or 3 big spoonfuls of prasad for me, which more than sufficed. Having almost nothing else to eat, I had near perfect conditions for gauging the phenomenal power of prasad. While driving to the field walk, I listened to the following conversation between Baba and Bodhishvar, a leading Swiss Margi. Baba, pointing to a vineyard. Bodhishvar, what kind of grapes are those? Bodhishvar, I'm sorry, Baba, I don't know. Baba, well, are they red grapes or white grapes? Bodhishvar, they are white grapes, Baba. Baba, are they good for making wine? Bodhishvar, smiling, I don't know, Baba. Baba, speaking gently, why don't you know? You should know everything. Yes, they are excellent for making wine. Their name is a German name I do not remember. They are grown primarily in about 4 or 5 areas with German and French names that I do not remember. They have especially sweet taste as opposed to about 3 or 4 types of other grapes that I also don't know. Is it not a fact, Bodhishvar? Bodhishvar, well, I'm not an expert like you, Baba. Baba, no. Your Baba knows nothing, looking at me also. You boys are the ones who must know everything. What do you say? In reply, we simply smiled as charmingly as we could. On the 3rd day in Fiesch, the global head of Volunteer Service Department, Dada Dharmavedananda, came to me saying, Brother, you're passing too much time with Baba. You also have to spend time with Margis and inspire them to dedicate their lives to become Dadas and Didis. From today, you will no longer go on any more field walks with Baba. I will personally take care of the security during all the walks, so you have time to do your work. I was shocked. Until that moment, these few days had been like heaven. I pleaded with him to change his mind. That was that. When Baba's walk started, I was left behind. I was thoroughly depressed, so there was no question of talking to any Margi. I just sat and burned with self-pity, both blaming Baba and begging Baba to change his mind. When they came back, I heard Japananandaji was looking for me. So I reported to the dictator, expecting his words when I would tell him that I had spoken to no one. Oh, who cared anyway? Before hearing a word from me, he already looked completely frustrated. How had he guessed that I had done nothing? But he said, Brother, what kind of cadre do you have? None of them could be controlled. What nonsense, fellows. From now on, I insist you have to be present on each and every field walk. Perfect cadre. Historic for us, nonchalant for him. Every day I chose 3 or 4 brothers to enjoy the field walk with Baba. The sisters often protested, but I was under instructions from Ramananda ji and other Dadas to only permit brothers according to the Indian system. The sisters had requested that their desire be expressed to Bábá many times, but the Dadas refused, considering such a change impossible. It is my opinion that Bábá preferred new initiatives to come from our side rather than by his direct suggestion, so he had to manage this problem in his own unique way. On this day, halfway through the field walk, he rested in a chair with a few brothers sitting by his feet. The security and myself remained standing. I thought everyone was entranced by the talk, but then Bábá turned to Bodhishvar, saying, "Bodhishvar, you are feeling sad about something." "Yes, Bábá. What is it? Say. Bábá, yes, go ahead. It's my wife, Anchala. Yes, don't hesitate, Bábá said. Say what's on your mind. Well, Bábá, every day I go with you for a field walk, and she cries and cries, Bábá, because she also wants to go. Can't she also come? Without the slightest hesitation, Bábá said, "Why not?" and beamed as if he were just waiting for this question. Ramananda ji and I immediately looked at each other with a mixed expression of surprise and delight. "Thank you, Bábá," said Bodhishvar. Later, we met with the Didis and set up a new system where the number of sisters would equal the number of brothers on field walk. We also made plans to add sister volunteers to the security arrangements. Hiding his knowledge. One morning on the way to the field walk, I asked Avanish, one of Norway, who until 5 days ago had never before seen Bábá, "Brother, what do you think of Bábá now?" "It's funny," he said. "I don't know why. He hasn't done anything at all special. He looks and acts just like a sweet old man. I don't know why, but I love him." He gave a big smile like a child. I feel love for him, just like a father. No, even more than for my father." "It's a normal reaction," I said. "Absolutely normal." We drove high into the snow-covered Alps. While walking, Bábá said, "Life on our planet started in these Alps. At that time, the surroundings were very hot. Life began only up in the mountains at 0 degrees centigrade, the necessary temperature for the process to start." After walking in silence for a few moments, Dada Abhidevananda asked, "Bábá, is it possible that life came to the earth from another planet?" "Why not? Why not? According to my opinion, life came from the planet Mars. Today, Mars is a dying planet." Later, he commented that the first human civilization was also in the Alps. We returned to the cars and started back. Just after turning a corner, we saw several uniformed persons putting away a big parabolic-shaped machine. One of the Margis in my car, an engineer, said, "That's a sound detection device used over long distances by the secret police to pick up conversations." Another Margi added, "Do you think it's possible that Bábá specifically intended that interplanetary talk to be overheard by them?" During evening darshan, after a devotional song, one brother suddenly stood up in the middle of the crowd. In the otherwise silent room, his talk in Italian was a kind of bolt from the blue, shocking everyone. Before he could complete even one sentence, Dada Japananda rose, pointing his finger at the man and told him forcefully to sit down. Obediently, the man collapsed to the floor. I recognized him. It was Parimal from Parma. He was previously a brilliant physicist, tragically struck by a disease which had necessitated an operation on his brain. Since then, he had turned abnormal, to say the least. In the momentary excitement, Bábá looked at Dada Ramananda and me. Ramananda ji was sitting next to Bábá, while I was standing. After the security fiasco at the airport, I had decided to remain close to Bábá whenever he was out of his room, directly rather than indirectly supervising the volunteers, though admittedly I took this decision not solely out of consideration for security. He looked at us and asked, "What is it? What's happening?" "Nothing, Baba," Ramananandaji said. "The man is crazy." "What do you mean crazy?" Baba said. "Let him come to the front. Come on, my boy," he said, waving Parimal forward. As he hobbled forward, everyone could see his balding, deformed skull. He launched excitedly into an Italian soliloquy. Now, this will be interesting, I thought. Since Baba knows all the world's languages, we should be able to see firsthand how he replies to a tongue that he hadn't been exposed to before. All the Margis leaned forward, similarly watching for Baba's reaction. But it was not to be as we hoped. Instead, Baba spoke to the Dada posted in Italy. "Japa, give me the translation in English." Though everyone was silent, many looked disappointed. They might have been thinking, was it only fiction, the stories that Baba knows all languages? Japa Ji started the translation. Baba, he says the title of his story is titled Baba with the Baby on the Farm. Parimal appeared inspired as he spoke, enthusiastically dramatizing his discourse. I observed that some of the Germans and Dutch looked disillusioned, seeing Baba's apparent dependence on the translation. But the Italians and those who understood Italian, including me, could not help but notice that each time Parimal spoke a humorous line, Baba smiled before the translation was delivered. Some months later, when I visited Parma, Italy, I found a changed Parimal. Previous to this experience with Baba, he had been in a nearly constant state of confusion. While I was in Parma, however, I saw that he was still excited about Baba, that he was always talking about Baba. Instead of being in a state of confusion, however, he was, I felt, in a spiritual state. He died a few months later. DMC night. In the morning, during the daily meeting of our 35 security cadres, I had the uncomfortable task of asking for a volunteer to stay and guard Baba's house during the DMC speech and the Varabaya Mudra. Whoever sacrifices himself for the welfare of others is guaranteed Baba's special grace, I said. I know you've all come here looking forward to the DMC speech. Nevertheless, I'm sure at least one of you will selflessly relinquish his rights for the sake of the others. My words met only silence. No one moved. A few seconds passed, and then one brother stepped forward. It was a young Margi from Ireland. "Thank you, Sundara," I said. Honestly, I felt sorry for the lad. Usually on DMC Day, Baba held a special meeting of Avadutas to discuss some interesting matters and to bless us. During this particular evening, the answer to one question was, for me, especially imbued with mystical significance. By then, 20 minutes of the meeting had passed and the air was electric. Each Avadut has a singularly extraordinary role to play, he said. He paused and then asked, "What is the purpose of the Avadut?" We could not answer. We could not even speak. He gave his own reply slowly. The purpose of an Avaduta is to exist. As all the nuances of this statement gradually sunk into my heart, my spine shivered, then shook strongly. Immediately before Baba gave the daily darshan speech, Kaushiki was demonstrated by a few sisters, and then both Kaushiki and Tandava by a few brothers. Because it was DMC night, I felt something special in the air. Nevertheless, the announcement in the dark surpassed my expectation. Tonight's Tandava will be performed by 100 brothers. Within a single shocking moment, 100 torches burst into flames. The dancers leapt high in the eerie light, chanting Bhavanam Kevalam at ear-splitting volume. Guru's lips curled slightly in pleasure. His eyes burned and his body shifted into a powerful pose. Soon after, in that mood, he gave the DMC speech. Late that night, standing outside Baba's house, I heard fragments of several Magis' discussions about the DMC. Never before was my mind so concentrated. I thought my head would break, it throbbed so strongly. Well, I felt nothing, but somehow was still inspired. He was beautiful. These things are too subtle to be analyzed, and so on. Just before I went outside, Amita, a middle-aged lady from Norway, said, "And none of you saw it?" "What?" they said in chorus. "I was sure everyone saw it," she said. "Saw what?" "The smoke coming out of his hands during the mudra. It completely filled the hall."